I love my AirPods, but they suck for sleep. They push against my pillow, they fall out in the middle of the night, and they never last long enough for me to get the full 9 hours of beauty rest that this requires. So I decided to give the Ozlo Sleepbuds a try. I'll be showing you how well they actually work, who should and shouldn't buy them, and one pretty big limitation that might have you thinking twice before tossing out your old earbuds. Starting on a positive note, the physical design of the Ozlo Sleepbuds does have a very premium feel. The case glides open smoothly with LEDs that show the connection status of each sleepbud, as well as the overall battery level of the case itself. Plus, there are some very satisfying magnets that help guide the earbuds into place so you won't be fumbling with them in the middle of the night. Also inside the box are some manuals, a USB-C charging cord, and 3 additional sizes for the silicone tips. So whether you got some big ear holes or some little ear holes, Ozlo's got you covered. Now, the silicone tips of the Sleepbuds are super comfortable, but what really makes them unique are these squishy wing tips here. These do a fantastic job of keeping the buds in place throughout the night. So you just tuck it into your ear and they just kind of hold them in place there. Honestly, after 30 nights of testing the Ozlo Sleepbuds, there was only one night where I woke up and a sleepbud had actually fallen out of my ear, which is good because if you've ever lost an earbud while napping on a plane before, you know how much that sucks. But what really makes Ozlo Sleepbuds the most comfortable earbuds I've ever tried is how small they are. Basically like less than flush with my ear, unlike other earbuds that stick out with long stems or a bulkier design. This means you can sleep on your side or with your face on the pillow without them causing pain, discomfort, or getting knocked out of your ears. Comfort is one thing I think Ozlo Sleepbuds do exceptionally well. They nail it. But this comes at a cost, which we'll talk about later. For the most part, the Ozlo app is about as sleek and minimal as the product itself, which I think is a very good thing. I don't love a cluttered user interface and millions of features that nobody asked for. Simple is good. When you first start the app, you'll want to connect the Sleepbuds to your device. Interestingly, your phone app actually connects to the charging case via Bluetooth. Then the charging case connects to the Sleepbuds via Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE, which isn't that important for the average user to know, but it does mean that you will need to keep the case nearby to maintain a steady connection. I just keep mine on my nightstand and it works fine, but interestingly enough, connectivity issues are pretty much the one thing people tend to complain about with Ozlo Sleepbuds. Here's why. Generally, I can just take my Sleepbuds out of the case, pop them in my ears, and they start up right away with the sound I left off on. But sometimes when I open the app itself, it tries to make me sort of slide the case open with the buds inside to reconnect the Sleepbuds. And I do find this to be a kind of minor but annoying inconvenience. But on the bright side, once the buds are on and in my ears, I've never had them disconnect once. Once you've got your Ozlo Sleepbuds paired, you can start to explore the app. Up top on the homepage, you'll see the current battery life of both the earbuds and the case. In my experience, the buds tend to last about 10 hours before needing to be recharged by the case, and the case can charge the buds about 3 or 4 times before needing to be recharged itself. And for me, this is more than long enough of a charge. My AirPods have never been able to last me through a full night's sleep, so this is an improvement. Below the battery life, you'll see your current active sleep sound, which you can easily pause, skip, or swap. And below that, you'll see the volume. I like keeping it between 60 to 75% to drown out any background noise while being gentle on my hearing. Other than that, the main features you might not have expected are the ability to set recurring alarms, which sound gently through the Sleepbuds at whatever time you choose, the ability to set a sleep timer if you want whatever content you're streaming, or even the Ozlo Sleepbuds themselves to stop playing after a certain amount of time, and an autoplay option, so you don't just necessarily have to hit play right away. Instead, you could have your preferred brown noise or soundscape option turn on after a set amount of time. So like you could be streaming YouTube, Netflix, Audible, or Spotify and have Ozlo switch over to sleep sounds after like half an hour or so. Also kind of interesting, they've got an option in beta mode right now to switch from streamed content to sleep sounds once it detects you falling asleep. So yeah, that's another thing worth mentioning. Apparently Ozlo Sleepbuds have the hardware required to track your sleep metrics, to know when you fell asleep, to know when you woke up, etc. But it looks like that particular feature is still in closed beta, so I have no way of knowing how accurate it'll actually be. Of course, with my luck, I'm sure they'll release that update shortly after I post this review, so drop a comment below if it comes out soon, and I'll let you know what I think about the sleep tracking once I've had a chance to test it. But for now, Ozlo's sound library, I would say, is very good, but a bit limited. So right now I just counted 8 different alarm sounds and 26 different soundscapes and sleep masking sounds. I feel like there could be a little more, but maybe I'm just being nitpicky. Obviously, I expect that Ozlo will continue adding more over time, and because there's no subscription, I do want to give them some grace on not having a tremendous library. For what it's worth, if you want to hear rain, storms, trains, whatever, they do have all the most important options, and the tracks are all very high quality and tune out external noise effectively, especially with those silicone tips. You don't hear too much outside of them. My personal favorite sound that I've used the most so far is a masking track called Crimson Cloak. But I told you at the beginning of this video that Ozlo does have some pretty big limitations, so let's talk about those, and then I'll let you know point blank who I think should or shouldn't buy the Ozlo Sleepbuds. So, Ozlo Sleepbuds are a product with a very specific use case. These are for sleep, not for going on a run, not for using at the gym, not for dancing salsa in your living room. Sleep. And trying to be the best earbud for sleep comes with some sacrifices. For example, if you look at these compared to, say, the new AirPod Pro 3s, the Ozlo Sleepbuds are much smaller. In fact, these are probably the smallest earbuds I've ever used. Plus, the engineers had to find a way not just to make these smaller and more comfortable than other earbuds, but also to make the battery last longer so that you get through a full night of sleep with them, which a bigger battery usually requires a bigger device. So obviously, corners had to get cut somewhere. And I can tell you where those corners were cut. First, the Ozlo Sleepbuds really don't have much bass. Music doesn't sound terrible on them, but they're definitely not what you use for a pump-up jam sesh before going out. Second, there's no volume on the Sleepbuds themselves, so if you want to change the volume on your sleep sounds, you'll have to do so manually in the app. And third, and this is the big one, no active noise cancellation. I love active noise canceling, so that's the hardest pill for me to swallow. But with that said, I was initially going to hammer those negatives a little bit harder, but after thinking about it a while, I don't really think that there was any way around cutting those features to make these. Because if they added more bass, volume buttons, and active noise cancellation, the buds would almost certainly have to be larger, less comfortable, and probably not last through a full night's sleep. Ozlo's official response regarding the active noise cancellation is that, according to them, research shows that passive noise cancellation is better for sleep than active noise cancellation, which might be true. I haven't looked at the studies, but I still think it was mostly an engineering trade-off, and that's okay, because they really did manage to create the tiniest, most comfortable earbuds I've ever worn. With that said, I don't think that this product is for everyone. So who should and shouldn't buy Ozlo Sleepbuds? By the way, if you do decide to give them a try, I'll drop a link down below that I'll keep updated with the best current discount possible, and using this link will also help support the channel, which I greatly appreciate. So again, I think this is a product with a very specific use case. People who know what they're looking for and want a pair of high-quality sleep buds are probably going to be happy with this purchase, since Ozlo has a 5-star rating with over 1,800 reviews on the App Store. Just don't expect them to be your new daily driver gym earbuds due to the lack of bass and easy volume control. However, they are the most comfortable and low-profile earbuds I've ever worn, and they actually do a great job of blocking out sound, staying in your ears, and lasting through the night. Also, I think these are great for anyone who wants to block out sound in public or less than private environments. Like, I love traditional white noise machines and I use one every night. I keep one on my nightstand, but I can't exactly bring that with me on a plane or use it in shared spaces like at a hostel while traveling. Plus, if you've got roommates or a partner who doesn't share your preference for ambient noise, something like the Ozlo Sleepbuds becomes the only fair compromise. I actually had a friend crash on my couch last year and he needed to fall asleep listening to sleep stories, so I got stuck having to lay in bed hearing some bullshit about a puppy hotel or something like that. Ozlo Sleepbuds definitely would have come in handy in that situation for either of us. So if the purchase makes sense for you, I've got a discount link to the best deal down below. Otherwise, check out one of my absolute favorite products for falling asleep fast and sleeping well through the night. Got a video on it right here for you. I think you'll really like it.